people start a fitness pursuit, they often start with a goal. It might be to run a marathon, or it might be to do the couch to 5k. It might be to swim the channel, or it could be to swim from one side of the swimming pool to the other. Doesn't matter what level, it's a marker. It's like crossing that line. It gives you a sense of achievement, gives you an aim, something to go after. Goals are really powerful. They can push people to do the maddest things. Most of the best athletic, if not all of the best athletic achievements, have come off the back of someone deciding they want to achieve something specific. When I did my personal training qualification on day one, the first thing they taught us was how to set a good goal with a client. They taught us to set up SMART goals. That stands for specific, measurable, achievable. Hang on. The internet says relevant, but I'm pretty sure it was repeatable. And then T is time bound. This is how seriously I took it. I can't remember them. They taught us to set up short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals. This keeps the client interested and engaged in the pursuit. The buy-in increases and the client has a higher chance of achieving their goals. Nice. To be honest, it's all very nice. It's concise, it's clear. In theory, this all makes sense. The goal can make or break the conquest, so you probably should take it pretty seriously. Look, let's give it a go. First, let's pick the goal we want. It's important to realise when you first start training that you're going to notice changes happen at different rates dependent on the goal that you pick. So let's start with skill. If I go and practice kick-ups for 15 minutes, I'll be dramatically better at the end of the 15 minutes than I am right at the start. Then if I go away, rest for 2 days, come back, I'll be worse again, but maybe a little bit better than I was before, and the improvements compound the more I do it. This is a really, really short amount of time to see very rapid improvement. Next is cardio. Cardio improvements happen much faster than strength, much faster. They still take a little bit of time. If I go on 3 runs a week, I'll probably notice the difference next week. I'll probably feel a little bit fitter and faster. The next would be weight loss. If you're choosing to try and lose weight and you aim for about 1% of your body weight per week, by the end of a month, you will look different. You will definitely notice when you look in the mirror. Next up is strength. If you are trying to get stronger, normally around 6 to 8 weeks after you start lifting, you're lifting that same weight with ease. Your technique's got better, but ultimately you probably would have grown some muscle mass that allows you to really notice the difference. Next up, we've got size. Growing real noticeable muscle mass probably takes one of the longest. If a client trains with good form and trains hard, around 2 months in, they're probably going to see a small difference on their frame. And to compound that, you might notice, but for others to notice is going to take even longer. It obviously depends on how fast of a responder you are, but normally you're looking about 3 months of hard training before people start looking at you and saying, have you been lifting weight? What a moment that is. What a moment that is. Maybe it's the best thing anyone can say to me. Probably. That probably is the case. So we've got all the information we need. Let's start going after achieving it. Don't get me wrong here, I think that setting goals is really good, and I do it with clients like all the time. But the idea of fitting someone's life into this neatly packaged box where nothing is going to interrupt their goal, it just feels totally unrealistic. If you are the average fitness enthusiast, your goals are going to have to be flexible. Because the truth is, your goal or your interest in the goal will normally move before you get there. That's not as depressing as it sounds. Let me explain. Number one, the goalpost moves because the client is progressing so fast it doesn't feel like that much of an achievement anymore. It will be cool when they hit it, but they already don't value it like they did on day one. I can't tell you how many times this has happened to me. It's like I progress closer and closer and closer to the thing. And the closer I get to it, the more it reveals is potentially possible. And I start thinking past that thing before I even get there. Maybe that is something that is worth doing, is digging into really celebrating the result, even if your ambition has moved past it. But still, you can't pretend to care about something as much as you did on day one when realistically you don't. Number two, the goal is going to take longer to hit than they thought because life became more chaotic than it was on day one. They need something more short term to achieve to give them the reward feeling they were looking for. Here's the thing though, if fitness goals are so easily broken down by life, then what's the solid foundation that we can put our fitness pursuits on? For me, I got into the gym for one reason. I got engaged at 19 years old. 19 years old is young. Somehow, Amy's family were supportive and so were mine. At the time, I was working as a sports coach in primary schools, and I remember I told one of the mums that I had gotten engaged, and she literally looked me up and down like, silly little boy. And the arrogant little rebel in me wanted to flip her the bird and tell her to do one. In fact, that person is still alive in me now. So if you're watching this, lady, we're 10 years married and are happier than ever, so... I was baby-faced, skinny as hell, immature, and to be honest, if I really tried to swallow my pride, she was right. I was a boy making a man's decision and I could feel the enormity of what I was about to do. And I wanted to feel like a grown-up. I wanted to feel like a man. And I wouldn't have even admitted this to myself at the time, but when I first started lifting weights, my goal was to feel like a man. Not a boy, not a child, not a teenager, not a young adult. I wanted to feel like a man. I joined a CrossFit gym and about 6 months in, I was stronger, fitter and faster than I had ever been before and literally felt no closer to being a grown-up adult male at all. It was kind of pathetic, to be honest. The enormity of marriage was no smaller than the day that I had started, and with every day that went on, I felt more and more pathetic having that as a goal. It just felt silly. But in this pursuit, something important had happened. I enjoyed the community. I enjoyed being fitter. I enjoyed being faster and stronger. I enjoyed the athletic benefit when I played football. I enjoyed sleeping better. I enjoyed having some sort of pecs for the first time in my entire life. But more than anything else, I enjoyed the pursuit of something specific and what I would discover on the way, whether I hit it or not. I fell in love with pursuing a goal, going after it, and just seeing where it took me. Sometimes it took me from where I was to the goal in a perfectly straight line. I went after it, I hit it, I was happy, I set a new goal, and I went after the next one. But oftentimes I would set a goal, go after it, and then something would happen that would pull me in another direction. I would sort of go all over the place and achieve loads of different things on the way there. And they were all just as exciting as the goal that I'd set in the first place. Honestly, this was the most fun way to do it. It was a way of adapting and coping with all the other pressures that life was putting on me and keeping the passion for fitness alive. Goals are so important, but they make a lousy foundation. If you want this to be long-term, you need to embrace that fitness isn't just something that you do and then move on. Let fitness become a part of who you are. A way to discover brand new things about yourself or rediscover things that you thought were gone. A life that isn't divorced from physicality allows you to connect to the body that you're in. This might sound a little bit silly, but if you can build a relationship with your body where you trust the body that you're in, it makes a real difference to your mental state. That doesn't mean things will never break or go wrong. Our bodies fail us all the time. And some of us are born with disabilities that really change our experience in our body. But maximizing the physicality that God, your genetics, the universe gave you is an important part of making your body a home, not just a house that you live in. Not to get overly deep, but if you do have mental health issues and you're not taking good care of the home that your soul lives in, I would thoroughly recommend giving it a go and just seeing what kind of difference it makes to you. You know, hopefully one day I'm going to become a dad, and my fitness pursuit is going to have to change massively in that season. It's all a part of discovering new things about yourself through fitness. I'll need to be adaptable and flexible, so here's to going with the flow. Thanks for watching this week's vlog. Who knows if I'll post next week? I certainly don't. Catch you in the next one.